Drum roll. The boom, we have a new tool on board and it's called Supernova Studio. So the other day one of my friends linked it to me and I was like, wow, this sounds promising, because apparently you can take your sketch files of this tool, you can import it into this tool. It's kind of like a hybrid between InVision Studio and Principal app. You can just link up the screens, you can assign, some actions to different buttons, and then you can magically export it to iOS, Android code, and it's all done universally and pre-packaged for you, and apparently you can just flush it into app stores right off, which sounds quite magical and unrealistic, but hey, if it's true, I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? Because you can, any designer now can just create mobile apps out of their sketch files, which is pretty damn good. You can try out this tool by just downloading a free trial for, I think, 30 days, which I'm gonna do for this specific case, because hey, if you're like me, if you're watching this video, you first of all want to try out if it's any good, if it's actually works as it's supposed to. So let's jump right in and see if it's any good and if it does what it's supposed to do. And I'm gonna try to import one of the sketch design files, and I'm gonna use just one of my regular designs just to see if it works. As you can see, I'm just gonna import really quick. So I wanted to find out, what's the capability just out of the box and if the tool is actually usable. As you can see, we are presented with some sort of yada yada yada, some sort of tutorial, just seeing if there's anything interesting, if there's anything outstanding, but it seems quite straightforward, and I can see there's some sort of spew of a code in the end. Okay. So I have view controller, that seems like an Xcode type of deal, but I can't really see my design yet, even if I import it, which is quite weird. Then we have settings, we have a paints, that's pretty neat. We have something about saving and exporting. We have some sort of GitHub integration to report the issues, localization project. Okay, let's do a project author VA experience. Let's do iOS project XYZ. You can of course do all the other jazz like icons and everything you would need to set up anyways, but I don't really see any of my screens. So I think I figured out what's going on and why it wouldn't import, why it was blank. And guess what, guys? It's the opposite behavior, because as you can see, it kind of pre-selects here, but if I intuitively want to select, okay, import this and this, it says don't do anything. So you have to select to ignore it rather than to import it. It's quite opposite behavior. I hope we take note of that, but let's deselect and now it's going to import all of it. I hope. It's taking quite some time. I think it's just processing, removing duplicates, removing clutter. Okay, so it also simplifies the files, and as you can see, all those 100 something layers. And let's see what's the output. Some sort of different device, because it now, okay, so iPhone 8 Plus seems to display everything fine, and design is displayed a bit better than in InVision Studio. And this is a preview mode, but if we go to editing right here, now I should be able to edit the things. As you can see, I have the layers on the left hand side and everything seems to be fine. I wonder what the options here are. I guess alpha channels, visibility, things of that nature. It's a bit slow and sluggish. Let's see if I would want to animate this button label. Okay, so we have pre-built components as well. If I want to convert this into a button, is there going to be some... Okay, so it's quite, I guess, Xcode friendly, where you have to convert every component into something Xcode would recognize, or something, let's say, iOS code like Swift would actually recognize. So I wonder how can I animate? Bounce in? Kind of animate object by object. This is a bit ridiculous animation. for the time being, but I think it's pretty cool. But now I would expect right click and something like actually would have on click do this, or you know, on click do that. Okay, so I think I found it. Under the connections bit, navigation connections, you have to go do it separately. Basically what I did is I just set it to add, while selecting this, I just set it to push it with one of the components, but I don't know if I can preview it now. Right, so on click in the preview window. Oh, I keep on clicking. This I think should be somewhere on top. It's really confusing what screen, what's navigation. It took me quite a while to understand, and then preview and edit, it just, like in the preview I tried to edit it and I was like frustrated, like why doesn't it work? And now in edit it's just easy peasy. I can just do it, you know, as I please. So just here, for example, that arrow icon I was trying to click, if I would convert that into a component, which is, let's say, a button, it should be good. And now I have to go to navigation, and in the navigation bit I have to select push, back arrow, and then select back to a different screen. As you can see now, it created some sort of connection between, and in the screen now I have to go to preview. So there is some kind of, you know, annoying bits here and there. So if I click on arrow, boom, it pushes. And then if I click on our weirdly animating thing, it pushes back. So that's the simplest animation. But you know, while I was experimenting with this, what I found interesting is all these options up above, because I can just refresh and re-import my newly redesigned, let's say, screen. So if there is any improvement in prototyping efforts, I can just like upload it. And I can export it to, let's say, something which Xcode would pick up, or like a pre-package it so I could actually upload, you know, to App Store or whatever right off, which is pretty neat, because I don't know if it works well. I'll need to try out in, you know, later versions, but it seems quite simple, because I can just, you know, upload all that and maybe even make a proper app here, who knows. And then we have lastly simulator, which crashed when I tried to load it, so I'm not gonna try it again. But just to see what the code is like, as you can see, I can preview what platform it is for. I don't know if Android is, oh, so Android and iOS is taken automatically, I guess. It's just like a universal approach to it, and I can say which code I'm using, which is Swift only. But okay, let's see what sort of UI component. This might not be interesting for those who are not coding, let's say, but I can see that there is UI button with arrow pressed back, which I just added, you know, a moment ago. As you can see, it spits out quite good Swift code. So there is some opportunity here to do so. Kind of like sums up my first look at Supernova Studio. I think this has a lot of opportunity. So I'm gonna try to maybe even create like a simple app going forward, and maybe even cover it with a walkthrough, so that you can actually see how it goes and if it's any good. But so far so good. I kind of like the UI, which you can flip from dark to white one, like this one. And after, I don't know, like 10 minutes or so, I kind of got used to the workflow, which is a bit confusing to begin with. Maybe some text under the icons, or I don't know, some sort of clear icons would be help. And this workflow, which is one of the most important bits here while designing a prototype, I think should be popping up and be more obvious, because you have two views, which is screen or navigation, and screen is basically where you would, you know, design your different elements, as long as you enabled the edit. So parenting is basically, this is a primary level, this is a secondary level, or vice versa. And you can edit all those components, convert them into text, which I guess you have to do for every single bit, so that it's perceived well, whatever compiler you're going to run it through eventually. Or you can go to navigation, which allows you to link different objects here and there. Or you can preview here. So I guess there is some sort of misunderstanding or some sort of confusing bits, but all in all, I quite like it. I feel it's quite stable. It's a bit slow at the moment. Maybe it's because of my machine, or maybe it's because it's an early version of it. That's my take. That's my first look in Supernova Studio. What do you think? Do you think this is an interesting tool? Are you gonna give it a go? And if so, leave a like, subscribe to this channel. I really appreciate it. And leave a comment below. What do you think about it? Do you think this is a good tool? And see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.